Hey guys, Stephanie McFelchair, Dream Coach here. Just wanted to talk to you about relationships. That seems to be a really big topic of discussion and issues that people seem to have whenever they call and talk to a dream coach. I can tell you from my personal experience, I was not so good at relationships. I had two pretty bad codependent relationships that I came to figure out later on. My first relationship was a very unhealthy one where his father ended up getting very, very sick and passing away. And I kept hoping for that person that I knew and fell in love with to come back. And he never quite did and became actually both verbally and physically abusive after that. I spent a little bit of time, probably 2 or 3 years, waiting and hoping that that person that I fell in love with was going to come back, and he never did. Without realizing it, I was holding on to a lot of guilt. And so when I started my next relationship, I started that feeling like I hadn't done enough in the previous relationship. So I was holding on to something, not living in integrity with my true self. And so I married someone that I really shouldn't have. I definitely saw some red signs, big red signs, like bigger than the red flags, like really major, like explosions. Hey, you should not be doing this at all. But I just kind of figured that he had really great potential, and when you love someone, you kind of deal with certain things about them that you might not deal with other people. Overall, he was a great guy, and he had high expectations for things that he wanted to do. But the reality is that I saw his possibility, and I didn't actually want to see him for who he truly was. So 5 years later, after being married for 5 years and having a very, very tumultuous, unhealthy 5-year marriage, I decided to get a divorce, and it was one of the best things and happiest things that I ever did. So my knowledge now that I am in a healthy relationship, it's been a few years since I've been divorced. I did a lot of work on myself, really got to know myself and realized that I was able to have a healthy relationship. And why was I able to do that? Well, the biggest thing is that I found myself. I did all the things that made me happy, and I started to really like being single, to be honest with you. A lot of people, for some reason, feel like they have to be in a relationship, like if they're at a certain age, that they are not worthy of finding new love, or that there's something wrong with them, to want to get out of a relationship, that there's not just the not good enough, the not worthy, the too old, this is not the right time for the kids, I have to stay in this relationship. But the reality is that if you only live once, and this is the only time you get to do this whole fun life thing, could you look back in 50 years and say, was this it? Am I happy with those 50 years that have just gone by? For me, when I was in my unhealthy marriage, the answer was no. And that was really the question that I asked myself. I said, could I do this? Could I put a child through this? And I knew the answer to put a child was no. But when I thought about my life, then I said, could I do this? And I said, you know what? I really can't. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made, because when I made that decision to leave, it changed my life completely and put me on a completely different course. Had I not done that, I would not be in the happy, committed relationship that I'm in now. I would not have the beautiful son that I have now. None of those things would have happened. And it all became possible because I decided no more. I wasn't going to take that anymore. I wasn't going to put myself last anymore. I wasn't going to think that I was not worthy of a good relationship, and a good relationship even with myself. You know, the biggest few years in between of me getting a divorce and getting remarried, those years were completely about finding myself, going on my own journey, finding my passions, figuring out what made me happy. And I have to admit, my husband really kind of had to talk me into deciding to be with him, because I really, really like being single. And I never thought that I could say that. I think that I really thought that after, 34, that you were just an old hag and there was just no point. So you might as well just stay married because you'll never find anybody. Well, I got married at 37, had a child at 38, and now here I am 39, and I'm very, very happy and doing the things that I love to do. So I'm living proof that you do not have to stay in a relationship that you are unhappy with. If you work on yourself and follow your own dreams, the right person will come to you. So good luck with whatever you're going through, and maybe we can help you out sometime.